the Q&A and the chat so we can help answer them. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and kick off. Cool. Okay, cool. So the SaaStr annual is coming up fast in just a few weeks. So there's a few reminders we want to go through. And again, like I said, please drop your questions in the chat. We can help answer them as we go along to try and help make this interactive and help get you guys the info you need with the event coming up so quickly. So we are back in the Bay Area this year, September 6th through 8th at the San Mateo County Event Center. This is an indoor and outdoor venue to keep in mind, and we'll talk about transportation in a minute here. But yeah, just as a tips and tricks for as you're finalizing everything and most of your booths are now in, when you're thinking about packing stuff to bring, etc. It is the Bay Area, so wear layers. It can get warm, it can be chilly, a little bit chilly and dewy in the mornings. But yeah, kind of, for indoor, outdoor, sunglasses, hats, etc. Things like that. Cool. So there's a lot going on at this annual, so we'll try and do a deep dive on the agenda today just to share some of what's going on from an attendee's perspective and a speaker's perspective as well, because hopefully you guys have time to take advantage of everything else that's going on at SaaStr in addition to the booth. So okay, we went over this. If at all you guys have any questions that we're not able to answer for some reason on this webinar or that are more detailed, do reach out to sponsorsuccess@saastrinc.com. That is the best way to get in touch with the team here. Okay, a quick note on transportation, since we've seen a lot of questions on this one coming through the inbox as you guys are planning kind of like your on-site presence and sponsorship of the booth. So there's a few things to bear in mind. You can obviously use ride shares, so like Ubers, Lyfts, or other forms of rideshare. If you do take it, there are kind of multiple entrances to the San Mateo County Event Center. The west lot is going to be kind of your best bet because it's closest to the sponsor hall. That one is located at 2650 South Delaware Street. So if you do get in an Uber or Lyft or other rideshare, definitely type in that address and ask your, rideshare driver to take you to that specific address. Otherwise, it's kind of, roll of the dice of where they end up taking you to one of those entrances. So if you want to be as close to yours as possible, definitely use that one for drop off. On-site parking, I know a few of you have been requesting parking, continue to do so. We have not ticketed the parking yet, so that is coming in the next week or so once we know how many people have been requesting parking. But if you would like, you can request a parking pass there. I know there's still availability, so you can request a parking pass if you've got either a rental or if you're local. I do know as well, a lot of teams sometimes find it a bit more efficient and cost effective to rent a car and kind of use that for back and forth if you have a lot of stuff that you're going to be wanting to bring, or if you've got folks who also need to come go out to customer meetings or get around the kind of the greater Bay Area. That can usually be a little bit more cost effective since the ride shares do tend to surge around SaaStr annual just due to the volume of attendees that we have. Most folks are not local, so it is a heavy ride share show and something to keep in mind on parking there. Also on property, it is a 40-acre campus, so definitely wear sensible shoes throughout your entire time there, including load-in. It's going to be a lot of walking. It's going to be a lot of standing while you're in your booth, of course. But we have these on-site pedicabs and trams, so they will be looping on the campus around SaaStr annual, and they can kind of help take you from point A to point B if you're trying to get somewhere from one side of the venue to the other side of the venue. They're pretty handy, even sometimes if you don't think you need it. Sometimes it's nice to just take a break if you've been on your feet all day. And so, yeah, those are available to anyone on campus. Hopefully you've booked your travel and hotel by now. I know a lot of these are kind of now sold out. But yeah, hopefully you've booked your travel. If not, definitely encourage you guys to do that and make sure you do that very, very soon, since again, the hotels are starting to sell out around San Mateo. So, okay. We're going to do a deep dive a bit on the agenda just because, again, it is coming up and we want to make sure you guys have all the details on what's going on at SaaStr, if you've missed when to be in your booth, all that kind of thing, etc. Especially as most of you guys are arranging team members for shifts and different things throughout the course of the event. So first and foremost, we do have early sponsor load-in on Tuesday. So this is technically the day before SaaStr Annual starts. This goes from 2 p.m. all the way to 8 p.m. Of note, that is a hard stop at 8 p.m. So if you do show up right at 8 p.m., we cannot accommodate any later load-in than 8 p.m. It is a 2 to 8 p.m. venue hard stop. And what this is for sponsor load-in is that all your booths are turnkey, but we know a lot of folks like to come in, kind of organize their swag, see, plug into their monitors, get a lay of the land, and also pick up your badges early. So of that note, right, sponsor load-in is 2 to 8. There's early batch pickup that's just for sponsors from 2 to 4, and then kind of early batch pickup for all attendees, et cetera, in our 2 biggest registration areas. Again, if you're coming in early, definitely kind of use that west lot. Delaware entrance this day. That'll be the easiest thing to do for load-in. Parking is not enforced on this day, so you could just free reign come in to the venue on the west lot this day, but it will be enforced the main 3 days, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of SaaStr Annual. A note on early badge pickup and registration, just a reminder that everyone does need to individually pick up your bags and badges. So if you've got team members that are coming in for early load, and everyone does need to individually pick up their own badge, as we do ID checks and we do temperature checks. So everyone does need to pick up their own badge for that reason. And yeah, if for some reason you miss it, or if your flight comes in late and you can only go pick up your badge, there is satellite registration offered this day over at the Crown Plaza, which is kind of like our main attendee block. Let's see what's next on here. Sorry, give me 1 second. Can't see my own slides. Oh, that's really weird. Okay, I got it back. All right.
Yeah, I can still see. I see the event agenda September Wednesday 6th, day 1, if that's
cool.
what you're seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I was like, let me come back here. Got a little funky. Okay. Cool. Coming to the first official show day. This is Wednesday, September 6th. The satellite registration over at the Crown Plaza. So if you're staying there, that does open at 7:30 in the morning. So if you have a late flight that you're coming into, you can grab your badge there before you come on show site. Again, if you're staying there, if you're staying nearby, you can walk over there. It is a great, place to go pick up your badge. It's usually a lot quieter than the main campus, since everyone comes to the main campus. And so yeah, highly recommend that if in the instance of time you're nearby, and it's helpful to do that. Otherwise, at 8 a.m., the on-site registration and badge pickup will open for everyone to come in. Again, these are all of our locations. There's kind of 4 locations throughout the property. Some of them are closer to the sponsor halls. But yeah, that's kind of where to go there, starting at 8 a.m. Sponsors do have 2 hours this morning. That's worth noting for final load-in. This goes from 8 to 10. Again, if you don't get the chance to come in for day 0 and you can only come in early on the 6th, we do highly recommend it. It is good to come in. The day goes by really fast since it is the first official show day. And it can be really helpful, to get your bearings, make sure your boxes are all, broken down. If you've got swag that you've brought in or any activations that you've brought in, kind of, again, get your lay of the land, get your coffee, kind of get set up, make sure you test your lead scanners, all that, because it can come really fast, right? Basically around 9 to 10 a.m. is when most attendees will start to come in. Usually 10 a.m. is like a big rush of attendees. So just making sure you're all set up and ready for that is why we recommend coming for final load-in early in the morning. It's also a good chance to, just be faster, get a few emails done before like the rush of people come that day, because then the rest of the day usually goes pretty fast. The sponsor hall is, the sponsor hall is open from 10 to 7 this day. The other things that are going around campus, though, I'll go back to the campus map in a second here. There are stages within both of our sponsor halls. There's also things we do called Braindates, which we'll touch on. We've also got a co-working space. There's lunches, there's a speakeasy, and there's a lot of speakers and content, which is why, it's a big draw for a lot of the attendees who come to SaaStr Annual. But just worth noting, there is, a lot going on each day. And so what I like to preface to folks is like, whether you're a new sponsor or a returning sponsor, it is a lot per day, right? So as much as you can, take shifts, take breaks between members. We do recommend it because it is a long, kind of long days of standing and interacting and being on, if you will. So yeah, definitely recommend that. I also would say like, the more inviting you can make your booth, the better. There are a lot of sponsors at SaaStr Annual. And I know we were all tempted to like take breaks and just be on our laptops and answer emails real quick. But I do think if you're going to do that, use spaces like the co-working space, use the outside, et cetera. That, when you are at your booth, you're kind of focused on being able to draw people into your booth and have a conversation with the attendees. I think it just helps draw people in a bit more. The biggest evening events for the first day on Wednesday will be happy hour. So happy hour will be in both of our sponsor halls. So there's 2 hangars. Again, I'll go back to the map in a second after the agenda. And we also have something new this year. That's the SaaStr Wine and Food Fest. We're kind of bringing a taste of Napa to SaaStr. So, this will be all like Napa wines. There will still be beer, but this will be all like Napa, literally like local wines from around Napa Valley and Sonoma. And then we've done some kind of like Napa inspired food and beverage choices just kind of all around to make it kind of cool. So yeah, it should be a fun food and wine fest. It's open to all attendees. So again, just noting here, from that 3:30 to 7, the sponsor hall will especially be jammed, right? Because people are going to be in these 2 areas kind of getting food, getting drinks. So a good time, like if you do have a fair amount of staff members, like as much as you can fit folks in your booth, that is when I would have kind of everyone concentrated in your booth. It's also worth noting, we've had some sponsors work the crowds, if you will. And I don't mean like go around and like try and pass out flyers or do like kind of guerrilla marketing. What I mean by that is like there are other areas throughout the campus, right? And just within the hangars themselves. So within, the 2 sponsor hall hangars, there's cantinas, there's other places to hang out, there's the speakeasy. So like definitely recommend having folks kind of in those areas as well to, meet people and strike up conversations outside of the booth if you can as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of sponsors are thinking about like how to activate just beyond your booth itself. And so those are all awesome areas to be going out, sparking up conversations, networking. And the only other thing I'll add to this, that early access that you'll have each day as a sponsor, another really good thing to get aligned with on the team is like what makes a really successful day today? What are the KPIs? What are the goals? What are you trying to achieve that day? Just get the team really organized and rally around like what success looks like for the day, what that key metric is, incentivize it, gamify it, make it really fun. But I think also just a good opportunity to get the team, very focused on, what you want to achieve that day in terms of success metrics.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a good call. And I know Kevin's, I don't know if your camera's working, but like the ghost of Kevin is talking. Oh, there he goes.
There we go. It works now.
Like the ghost. What I'll do as well, but yeah, I think that's a really great point. Let me drop the slides here in the chat as well, so you guys can follow along. We went a little bit out of order because my computer was glitching, but we'll go back to a few things here from the beginning after we hit the agenda. But yeah, I think that's a good call out, right? Of making sure you know what your goals are for the day, kind of. I have seen folks too, just with like Europa and Annual recently, kind of share like a team goal and kind of gamify the lead scans. So we've had folks kind of be like, okay, our goal for day 1 is we want to try and get 50 scans for the day, or we want to try and get 100 scans, kind of, depending on the size of your booth, you can quantify the amount of leads you want to get in a single day for like your overall goals. But yeah, we've had folks kind of set a goal for the day, like, hey, we want to, have this many conversations, we want to have this many meetings or this many signups and scan these many folks, right? And to Kevin's point, it is good to kind of divide and conquer, if you will. There's the booth, there's Braindates, there are ways you can meet people, there's the cantinas, there's the container park, there's a lot of other spaces too to utilize, which we do recommend. Like the booth is obviously your main driver of traffic. It's where people are gonna, be the most engaged with you because you've got all your stuff with you. They can see what you're doing. You can show them what you're all about. But there are other places where you can definitely engage and network with folks throughout the campus. So definitely recommend that as well. And we've had folks kind of gamify, like, because you can set on your lead scanners who is scanning whom, like, whoever gets the most lead, kind of doing an internal team spiff of like whoever gets the most leads per day, and kind of trying to gamify it there makes it a little bit fun, right? Of like who can rack up the most scans.
Everyone loves a good competition, right?
Everyone loves it. Cool. That's Wednesday. Coming into Thursday, again, you do have sponsor early access in the morning. So again, kind of an hour. This is more of a booth refresh by, kind of the second or third day, depending on when you came. There is still badge pickup open on this day. I will say usually, the official day 2 of SaaStr is usually in previous years our most popular day of the 3 days or so. And that's because we have the big party this day. So usually it does lead to more of an influx of folks who are like, okay, if I can only do one day of SaaStr, I'm going to come to Thursday so I can like basically hit the whole day of content, go see all the ringers, and then go to the big party at the end and like have a day. So it is our most popular day. I will preface. The sponsor hall does open early this day. It's from 9 to 6 this day. Content starts a little bit earlier this day, as well as Braindates. Lunch each day is from 11:30 to 1:30. Again, a lot of that is concentrated in those sponsor expo hangars, so you can expect constant traffic during those times. We do have a speakeasy, which we'll chat about. And then we do have this day, we've got happy hour in both of the sponsor halls, and then the big party out by stage A. So yeah, a lot of people do come for the big party. And if I can movie magic my screen for a sec, I will go back to my slide about the big party. Got out of order, but where did it go? I might need to, when you're on Zoom too much, I feel like sometimes you have to reset your computer. I was like, maybe I just need maybe I can't be in full screen or something. I don't know. Okay. So anyways, yes, the big party on Thursday. If you've not seen the big announcement about the big party, Cheat Codes will be playing the big party, which is pretty exciting. I've not gotten to see them live yet, but heard them a lot, watched a lot of their like kind of like live streams and stuff. So this should be an epic fun time. They're very, very high energy. So yeah, they are. If you don't know them, you probably do know their songs. Just like go on Spotify, go on YouTube. You'll be like, oh, these guys.
Yeah, that happened to me. That was me.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, again, it's gonna be a like big energy, kind of like again, big party. It should be a really fun time. And one thing we wanted to call out for sponsors, like going to the big party is included with like your sponsor all access pass. It is a great way to like mix and mingle with folks. But we do this thing every year. That's called Bring a Buddy to the Big Party. Anyone can take advantage of this, including sponsors. So if you've got a full conference pass, including a sponsor all access pass, you can bring a buddy to the big party. And what this means is like you can bring a buddy, a significant other, a partner, a good friend, whatever it is, just to the big party. So it's kind of fun if you like want to invite a friend to come basically party it up with you, and see Cheat Codes and go to the concert together. So yeah, we do have these big party buddy passes. Now that the slides are in the chat, you can click this link. I think there's only a handful of these left because we do limit the big party buddy passes. So if you're interested in this, definitely go and do that. And yeah, it is just access to the big party, but it can be fun if you want to bring a friend to the party. Yeah, that's the big party. All right, closing out our kind of agenda walkthrough on Friday. Important things to note here. Again, if you guys have any shifts or new folks who can only come Friday, early badge registration and badge pickup is open from 8 a.m. this day all the way through basically the end of SaaStr Annual. You do have that hour again in the morning from 8 to 9 for early access. Yeah, again, by Friday, hopefully you have time to do more of the ancillary activities like doing a Braindates, using the co-working space, meeting people in the cantina, going to some speakers and content. This is our AI day on our speakers and content track. So there's a lot in VC day. So there's a lot of really great sessions on Friday. It is actually a jam-packed agenda this day, even though it's Friday. So as it is Friday, we will kind of open up a beer garden in the afternoon and make it a fun time for like the final huzzah of speakers and content. And then we'll end the day with like a kind of a longer happy hour with the beer garden and then sponsor loadout. So specifically there for sponsor loadout, People have asked us like what this all entails for loadout since the booths are turnkey. So if you have anything you want to ship back and you want to leave before 5:30, you would need to walk over to exhibitor services, which will be in the expo hall hangar, and let them know that you have stuff that you want to ship back and coordinate with them. If you don't have stuff you want to ship back, literally, if you're like, it's 4 o'clock, I'm good. We've been here for like 4 days. We feel like we've, scanned all the leads we're going to scan. We've had the conversations we're going to have, and some of our team wants to fly out for the weekend. Then you are welcome to do that. You only need to coordinate with Freeman if you've got something custom. That again needs to go back to your home base, etc. Otherwise, it is turnkey. So if you're done with your booth and there's nothing to ship or nothing to bring with you, then you can safely leave your booth in your home. That's been the last 3 days. Yeah, that's the agenda. Just a few reminders here. It's now linked in here as well, but in this sponsor know before you go guide, which I think I have open. I do. You'll see a lot of the same information. We kind of congregated some of it from like the last few weeks into one place. So you guys should have access to that. I'll drop this into the chat as well if it's helpful. I know sometimes we go long on these webinars, so we're trying to keep everything also in that know before you go so that it's up to date week over week. And then just a quick word on customer nominations. So customer nominations did close on the 15th. We did see quite a few nominations come in yesterday on the 16th, which was past the extended deadline. So these customer nominations are now closed. If you have not heard back from us yet on your nominations, that's because everyone submitted on the day it was due. And we are working through these to process these. So give it about another day or two if you haven't heard yet. I know the Reg team is going to do a kind of like batch of them later to go through them. But yeah, just to note that the nominations are now formally closed after we extended the deadline. And a lot of people did take us up on that extended deadline. So probably going to take a couple days to process those all there. If you haven't yet, definitely register your teams. I think we're just down to a few sponsors now who have not registered their teams yet. So really great, and thanks for all of you who have registered your teams. Again, really important you do this so that not only you know who's coming and you can book everything that comes with it, but as you're registered, you will start to get the attendee comms. Like if you missed the attendee comm that announced the big party, we actually sent it a few days ago to attendees as like the first announcement. Braindates, the mobile app, all that kind of stuff goes out to attendees. So yeah, definitely want to make sure you're registered there and signed up for the just signed up for SaaStr kind of general newsletters as well, which kind of mentions a lot of this too. Lead scanning, just a quick note here. You guys should have, I know we're almost complete on this as well, which is super great. We've been reaching out via our sponsor success team to get your main point of contact for your lead scanning license. Basically, you just need to designate one person for the entire team who will be on site. That can be basically the keeper of the leads. So this person would have access to the export, can help set it up, etc. There's a lot of information here on the app capabilities, which we covered off on last week, but linked here if you need it. There's a guide here. If you click the word here on this deck, there's a super handy guide of like how to use the app, even how to change device names so that, again, you can change and know who scanned what. You can see what kind of like qualifiers you can put into the app. So if you've given us your POC, we've basically set you the instructions back on how to get logged in and how to start using that. There's really nothing to do after that, right? There's no leads to scan yet. No one's got their badges yet. So kind of after that, I know it's a little bit of a lull, but yeah, that's kind of all there is to do there for now. One thing I touched on earlier in just like the general transportation of parking and stuff is one thing I forgot to mention is we do these shuttles. I think I mentioned it, but maybe not the time. So just putting it here for ease of use. If you are staying at the Crown Plaza or a nearby hotel where you can either walk to the Crown Plaza or get to the Crown Plaza and then take the shuttle because it's cheaper. Yeah, the Crown Plaza is our shuttle pickup and drop off location. These shuttles run about every 15 minutes or so, sometimes more often, sometimes a little bit longer. But yeah, about every 15 minutes, Wednesday through Friday, you can jump on the shuttle. It's free for anyone to just jump on the shuttle and take it to SaaStr Annual. It is a great way to kind of, again, cut down on Ubers, cut down on those surge fees of the Ubers, is to just jump on the shuttle. There are a number of shuttles. So again, they kind of do that 15-minute back and forth loop. They're literally just looping back and forth all day. And they do quite early and they do end quite late. So yeah, this is kind of accommodating of those early sponsor hours as well. So if you want to get on the shuttle as early as 6:30, you can. That will mostly be like staff going over that early, but you can get on that early. And then if you stay through the end of SaaStr, like this does accommodate for like a half-hour buffer of the very latest to leave. So yeah, pretty convenient to hop on the shuttle there. Cool. Other things I wanted to just remind folks of, we do have a updated health and safety policy this year. So I know last year, some of you are familiar with the policies we had last year, being fully vaccinated. This year's policy for SaaStr Annual 2023 is to don't come sick. So there is a mandatory passive temperature check each day of the event. We do not personally do this, so I always like to preface, this is our team and partners through Lookout Health. They are literally registered nurses and like EMTs, and so they are certified to do this kind of thing. They will be checking people's temperatures and also just, checking in with you if you do seem to be unwell or sick. So yeah, just again, make sure you are not sick. If you're feeling well, or feeling unwell, we ask that you, stay back and rest. If you're not feeling great, hopefully you can swap with another team member to work your booth or swap for you. Or if you have extra coverage, just try and stay home or stay at the hotel that day. And we can work with your team if you do have any last minute swaps of people who, got sick or et cetera, and you need to swap out a team member for another. Our on-site registration team can help you do that if that does arise. Basically our goal here is, that everyone kind of comes to the annual happy and healthy and nobody leaves with any weird illnesses, at least from SaaStr. And like that you don't get any colds or flu from being at the event. Cool, this is kind of a look at the cameras that they use. I see some questions about shipping, so I'll do that next. Let me flip to where that is. And then I'll come back on a few other reminders. Okay, shipping. I know there's been a few questions in the chat about shipping, of how do you reserve storage and coordinate that all with Freeman. So just a few things to bear in mind, and I will answer that question as well. We obviously welcome and encourage all of our sponsors to bring like swag, giveaways, et cetera. It does help give, drive traffic and bring people into your booth. Do bear in mind that pretty much everyone brings the swags and giveaways. And so the more unique you can make it to your brand or your company, the better, right? People kind of look for the swag that calls to them the most, things that are more unique. I will say like t-shirts, water bottles, hats, sunglasses, portable chargers, et cetera, are all kind of common because we do have this kind of like festival style theme kind of going. Again, I would, if you haven't, gotten your swag yet, it's maybe not too late to still order some swag and get it all delivered on time. But yeah, do bear in mind, like, you can kind of dissect the campus map and kind of see what's going on and maybe play to one of the things that's going on around the campus. Or, we've seen folks do other things like spin to wins, et cetera. So yeah, anyways, use that kind of to your advantage while you are picking your swag. And just always bear in mind that anything that you do bring in needs to fit within the bounds of your booth. So you will probably need managed storage if you are shipping things to the venue. Do keep in mind there are certain items and things that are prohibited due to the venue regulations. So any ancillary activations that are food and beverage had to have been already secured through SaaStr and San Mateo County Event Center. That deadline has much passed. So if you haven't done food and bev yet, it is unfortunately too late to add it now. Hopefully this is an obvious one, but bringing or consuming alcohol from the outside world is prohibited on property. We do have a lot of, happy hours, et cetera, non-alcoholic drinks around property. Sound and portable speakers are not allowed to be played. I know there's a question in the chat there of like, can we play the sound on our TVs? You cannot, so we do recommend that you caption anything that will be on your monitors. Just bear in mind, again, these are some massive hangers. I know it's hard to tell on the campus, but these are massive hangers. And so to kind of keep the ambient noise at a bearable level for 3 days, we don't allow, sound and portable speakers or sound from the monitors either. Other just kind of oddities and ends. Like balloons are not allowed, glitter, confetti, fake snow, etc. I know it seems kind of random, but those things are not allowed, and neither are drones. So please don't come and fly a drone over for footage. It's not allowed. Okay, shipping instructions. Hopefully you've already sent your stuff over to Freeman. If you haven't yet, you do need to send it to the advanced warehouse to avoid the kind of surge prices that will be incurred if you ship directly to show site. So the address is here to do that. And if you don't have your booth number yet, you can always just put your company name and they'll make sure it gets to your booth specific. So the labels are here if you guys still need them. Just a quick note too on shipping to show site. We highly recommend you ship to the advanced warehouse. If for some reason you have an item that's not going to be, fabricated in time and it does need to ship to show site, the show venue will not start receiving packages until the 5th, which is literally the day of early sponsor load-in. And that is due to the fact that Labor Day is the day right before. So Monday, September 4th is Labor Day. That's why they can't receive anything any sooner than that. Again, don't recommend that. That is cutting it awfully close for load-in. If you are sending things to the show site directly, you are likely going to have it for, the early morning Wednesday, just because it depends on how many people have shipped up directly to the venue. There's a question in the chat. Is the recommendation to ship to the warehouse? Yeah. Definitely recommend shipping to the warehouse. Definitely, get those shipping and packages in. You've got about a week and a half there between now and the 29th. Definitely ship to the warehouse. It actually makes it a lot easier too for Freeman to know like who has shipped what and get things to your booth, etc., and help you with managed storage when you ship to the warehouse. It makes it a whole lot easier. To coordinate any of this shipment, if you do ship to the advanced warehouse, there's a follow-up question. Do you have to go pick it up? Freeman will bring it to the show site. So how you will do that is, do all the labels, do all that stuff, and then use this handy link here to the online portal where it says shipping and material handling information. Yeah, you'll kind of click that and it will help you get to, kind of, what you need to do. There's instructions here on where to ship stuff, et cetera, and kind of coordinate with them there. So that's all in the kit there. A few other reminders. Let me just see what else we wanted to go through next. I think those were some of the burning questions in the chat. So we'll come into a few just kind of last activations there before we wrap for any final questions. One thing that you can do now, which is a highly good idea, there's two things to kind of take advantage of, which is the mobile apps and Braindates. So I'm going to go full screen here so you can see the whole thing. Okay. If you have been to SaaStr before, you still may have this on your phone, and you may just need to add your ticket for this year so that you can get access to SaaStr Annual 2023 versus a previous SaaStr event. But we do have the official SaaStr Events app. It is really handy. Honestly, I use this a lot during show days on site because it's the best way to see what's going on the agenda and what's going on where. It's actually extremely handy. I use it a lot. So just a pro tip there. It does have access to your ticketing and registration details as well, which will make your check-in faster. If for some reason, they can't find you in the system and you've got your app, it will have a QR code that they could just scan, which makes it a whole lot easier. For some reason, like the spelling isn't right or something got weird on your title or email. It's always good to have that to expedite check-in. You can build your agenda on this. So if you haven't yet and you kind of know what times you're going to be in the booth versus things you want to go and see for speakers, you can build your agenda there. You can book a brain date, which we'll talk about next. And you can chat this year, which is a new feature that we're doing. So I'll talk about that in the next slide. So our friends at Expensify, who are our unicorn sponsor this year, we've worked with them to launch Expensify Chat. It is embedded directly in the SaaStr Events mobile app, which makes it super handy. You don't have to download anything. You could just click a button from the SaaStr Events app. Highly recommend you do this. I'll share some screenshots on the next slide. It's super great. We've got chat rooms going, just kind of like a general announced in social rooms for folks who are attending SaaStr Annual to start networking with one another. There are also rooms for each session. So if you are one of our sponsors that has a speaking session, highly recommend you get into the chat room for your session. so that you can start interacting with folks. You can interact with audience members. You can start to interact with one another. You can open it up for Q&A. You can basically like add collateral to your session via the chat. So again, there's a lot you can do on it. There's like so many great capabilities of it. So yeah, really encourage you guys, if you haven't yet, to download the app and then play around with the Expensify chat that is embedded in the SaaStr Events app. It will be promoted throughout the venue. So, you know, you'll see a bunch of QR codes floating around of like specific rooms to drop into for chat. Again, we anticipate attendees will use this as a new feature this year that we've added, because I think they've always kind of wanted a real-time chat or a way to connect with each other that's maybe outside of Braindates. So the chat is a great way to do that. You know, there's various rooms that are just social rooms for people to go in and interact and network with one another. And then there are session-specific rooms. So yeah, this is super fun. We've been playing around with it and testing it with the Expensify team. So super thanks to them for doing that this year and bringing Expensify chat to SaaStr Annual. And yeah, if you are one of those folks with the session and you want to learn more, please reach out to myself or the speaker team. We can help get you all set up in the chat so you can take advantage of it. But yeah, I recommend everyone do this. Again, it's a great way to chat with attendees as attendees start to join all of the rooms on the chat as well. So yeah, lots of great stuff going on there. This is kind of what the chat looks like. You can see there's a few rooms. So on the left or middle, I would say, it's kind of like there's social rooms, if you will, so kind of like broader rooms for people to start chatting with one another. And then there's what we call rooms by session. So these are session-specific rooms where both attendees, sponsors, speakers will be able to chat with one another related to the content that you see on stage, which is super cool. Yeah, and again, this is how you get there. So if you download the app, you'll see kind of on the homepage there's a button to hit chat, and that will take you to the chat link. There's a question in chat: is can we pin chat messages to the top for attendees? Justice, since you have a session, you would need to work with our team, but yeah, we can help you do that for sure. So yeah, we can help you. I think the admins have to pin it. So we've kind of like we've pinned the session description by default, but if you have something you want to say, yeah, we can help you in your session room to make sure it's pinned, and that goes out to folks. Yeah, great question there. Cool. Other things you can take advantage of at SaaStr that we highly recommend are the Braindates. So these are our main networking platforms that you can use, again, to do a Braindate, do like a micro session, if you will. Again, use that hand in hand with the new chat functionality as a way to precede meeting with attendees, interacting with attendees on site. Definitely monitor the chat and the Braindates app via the SaaStr app. Those are great ways to interact with folks as well throughout the 3 days. Braindates are like our mind share kind of main networking micro sessions, if you will. I do recommend all of our sponsors book Braindates before you arrive. It's a great way to kind of like precede your topics and get into the platform. There are already attendees in the platform, so do bear that in mind. So there's a few ways you can get started with Braindates. I'm just going to click the live link here. So yeah, there's a few things you can do. First being, as you can see, there's already 120 topics in here. So there's quite a bit of topics already. So if you wanted to, the first thing you could do is join a Braindate. So you can either join a Braindate or host a Braindate, if you will. So I'll kind of go through what the two differences are. So as you come in, it kind of sorts your default with our algorithm of what it thinks you'll be the most interested in seeing. But of note, you can also see what's trending at the top, right? So there's kind of trending categories here. No surprise, a lot of it's around fundraising or growth. A lot of VCs use Braindates, and so do our portfolio, so do our attendees to try and get funding. There's also things like, sales is trending. That's obviously always a hot topic. So kind of no surprise there. So I'm going to go back real quick off that and go back to the default. But yeah, there's 100 topics in here. You can scroll through. I highly recommend you both join a Braindate, and if you want host a Braindate, it's obviously an easier lift to just join a Braindate. If you host a Braindate, that means you are the host. Like, you are expected to do a micro presentation on whatever topic you are presenting on. So it is work actually to host a Braindate. It's a little bit of an easier lift if you have a busy schedule on site to join a Braindate. So yeah, if any of these look like something that you wanted to join, You could basically click it. This one, you know, the power of automation when resources are tight. I think resources are usually tight for folks right now. So if I wanted to join this, you know, I would click this topic and hit schedule a brain date and pick a time to schedule a brain date. The other thing you'll notice is if you are a sponsor and you do have a brain date topic, you'll see we label them as a sponsored topic just to help kind of flag it so that you get this cool purple banner on your topic, etc. There's also this thing called super brain dates. So these are kind of, again, kind of micro sessions that are handpicked by the SaaStr team, and these host up to, I think, 50 people. So yeah, there's quite a few there. You'll also see some of the brain dates are starting to get full. So this is actually a really great example here. Sarah, who is a sponsor and a VP of sales at ChartMogul, who's been a longtime SaaStr sponsor, posted a topic on migrating from pure product-led growth to a hybrid self-serve / sales-led model. This is a super great topic. I'm not surprised this brain date is already full as a group brain date. You know, this really has nothing to do with ChartMogul. It is obviously talking about what she's done at ChartMogul, but not specifically about what ChartMogul does itself, right? So this is a super great example of how to take advantage of the brain dates as a sponsor. So great example right here. If you wanted to do something similar and post your own topic, you know, you would hit this big purple button, hit a new topic, and do, again, fill in what you want to share. Again, the onus is that it's a micro presentation, so it is work, right? Sarah's was a great topic that she threw into the brain dates. But yeah, you would kind of add your details there and post your topic. I will say when you post your topic, it does go into a moderation queue. So they do have to get approved by the team, meaning like, you know, we don't want anything overtly commercial or pitchy or spammy. Again, it's meant to be networking, it's meant to be thought leadership. So topics like this are great where, you know, you're not talking specifically about what your company does, but you are still talking about, you know, how you run and operate the company. Super great topic here from ChartMogul. I will say in if you do host a brain date, kind of like Sarah's, and we see it fill up, that is great. We do use that information. We look at it on a weekly basis to see what's full. I'm sure this will come up in my content call today of like, we see when things are full and then we decide if we want to upgrade them to a super brain date, which allows for many more people to join your session. So it's a really great way to do that and take advantage of that in the platform. Like depending if we have brain dates at that time, that's a great one to get upgraded. So yeah, a good shout out there of how to take advantage of the brain dates. Okay, I think let me see if there's anything else I want to hit. I know we covered a lot. Maybe I'll just end on the campus map real quick because I think I saw some questions about that earlier. So let me end here and we'll do any final questions. It's kind of like a final topic. Okay, the campus. So I always preface this, I said this to our internal team yesterday, this does not give it justice on the scale of how big the SaaStr annual campus really is. Again, it's a massive 40-acre campus and property. There's multiple registration areas. There's literally 4 registration areas. There's a lot going on in all of the different areas and kind of like sub-genres, if you will, of SaaStr annual. Also, again, as you can, highly recommend you try and, you know, take advantage of everything that is going on around SaaStr annual. You know, be present for the happy hours, be present for, you know, the big parties, the beer garden, cantina, etc., and all that to help maximize your sponsorship. So in the 2 hangars, these are where our sponsor halls are. So there's Hangar West and Hangar East. These are where all the booths are. So notably, there are 2 buildings that are connected. We've got 3 stages between the 3 buildings. All of the brain dates are in here as well. And also the cantina, which is like kind of the main food and beverage areas, coffee areas, and the co-working space, which is like an attendee hangout, go work area, mini WeWork kind of style thing. New this year, there's also the Founders Lounge. So this is gated access, so it does have to say like founder or CEO on your badge title to get into this. But this is literally a founders only lounge for folks to meet each other as founders. We get that request quite often for founders to meet one another during SaaStr annual. Similarly, there is a VC lounge. Same thing here. The investors who are ticketed will be able to take meetings in the VC lounge. As well as there's an entire park area here of SaaStr Park. So this is kind of like Central Park on site. You can go out here, take a break. A lot of sponsors always ask us, like, where can I take a meeting? You know, SaaStr Park's a great place to go take a meeting. The co-working spaces, the container park is going to be a great place to take a meeting. There's a lot of like little just nooks and crannies to sit outside and take a meeting that's maybe a little bit quieter than inside of the sponsor halls. The sponsor halls are always really, really busy. And so again, they can get a little bit loud. So yeah, highly recommend going to take a meeting outside on the campus somewhere and enjoying the sun for a little bit. The plaza stage is out here as well. So this is one of our larger stages on campus. As well as something new this year we're doing is called SaaStr Royale, which is like a mini non-money based casino, if you will. So you can come play table games if you want to take a quick break. Also a great chance, you know, to meet people as you're playing. I imagine that might get a little bit competitive. And then yeah, coming into the outside, we've got, you know, 3 stages out here. There's the Stage A Legends, 2 workshop stages, and then something new we're doing this year as well is the container park and our zip line. So definitely take a ride on that if you're not afraid of heights. And yeah, the container park is just like a fun kind of hangout outdoor area. Cool. So with that, we'll answer any last questions that have come in. A few people are asking for the slide deck, which is in the chat. If you open up the chat, you'll see that the slide deck is in there. There's another question on getting access to the campus map. So this is being shared with attendees in the same way it's being shared with you guys out via email. There will be printed ones available on campus. But again, I mean, not everyone always takes them oddly as attendees, and it is in the app as well. So yeah, kind of the digital version is used oddly more heavily than the printed one. Let's see, for those who aren't staying at a hotel and driving to the event, do we get our parking passes during our team registration? No, you will have to submit for parking. So whether you have a rental car or you're local and you want to park on site, you do need to request a parking pass. So if you come back onto this link, again, that we've dropped the slides into the chat here, there is a request parking here so that you guys can request parking. And also, if you just need to get to it kind of handy, you can just go to SaaStrannual2023.com, click this attendee portal. It does also have sponsor information. But yeah, you can click here. You'll see it's kind of like earmarked of like kind of the know before you go stuff. You can click parking, and then you'll see this handy parking request form. It's pretty easy for a sponsor's perspective, you know, fill in your name, email, that kind of thing. Your attendee type, so for you guys, you would put sponsor, and then whether you need parking all 3 days or just specific days, right? So you could say, I just need it Monday, Tuesday, or I just need it, sorry, not Monday, Tuesday, the 6th and the 7th, or you can say, I just need it the 6th, or I need it all 3 days. And this will help us sort you so that we get you in the lot that is closest to the sponsor hall. So that's why we ask that you self-identify as a speaker or sponsor if you are one of those categories. Cool. See if there's any other questions. I know SaaStr Annual is coming up fast, so hopefully this has been helpful to give you an overview and answer any questions. We will definitely be doing a just kind of like open forum next week as well, so that folks can, it says the chat disabled. I don't know how to fix it. Really weird. The chat is on for everyone for me. I think my Zoom just needs to reset. So yeah, hopefully folks can, maybe we'll try and put it in the Q&A for a second.
Yeah, if anybody does need it, I'm happy to email it out. So feel free to shoot me an email, kevin@saastrinc.com, and I'll make sure to get you a copy.
Yeah, I tried one more time in the chat. Maybe that got through to there. Okay. Cool. Hopefully that link worked. Okay. Yeah, as I said, thanks everyone for joining. If you think of any questions after the fact, just reach out to our sponsor success team. Next week will be our, I think, maybe there's 2 more sponsor webinars. I get confused because our team is already on site next week. But yeah, I know there's a lot of these. We're trying to keep them more open and like less jam-packed so we can help answer questions in the run-up to SaaStr. And again, hopefully you guys are registered now so that you're starting to get those attendee emails because those have a lot of information as well that's cross-applicable to sponsors. That all being said, if you guys have questions, please do reach out and we will see you again next Thursday.
Bye, everybody.